Former U.S. Attorney and small-town mayor is on his way to Washington after defeating the nation's oldest member of Congress. John Ratcliffe defeated 4th District Congressman Ralph Hall. He's with us live from his home in Heath in Rockwall County. First of all, congratulations. A little too early to call you Congressman-elect, but since you don't have an opponent in November, in effect you are.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be on this morning, Tim.
This was kind of a come-from-behind win. It was a pretty crowded field in the primary back in March. Ralph Hall got 45% to your 29%, so you didn't exactly come out of nowhere, but you certainly had a lot of work to do in the runoffs.
We did. You know, we through the first 3 months of the campaign, we used that time to force the runoff, and then you know, the runoff period was another 3 months, and so that gave me an opportunity to get out in the 18 counties and continue to connect with voters and make up that difference between the primary and the runoff. And so we were able to use that time, get out our positive message, and that made the difference.
You faced kind of a delicate campaign issue, which was Ralph Hall's age, 91 years old. How did you raise that issue without sounding insensitive or mean?
Well, we really didn't. You know, I talked more about tenure. I talked about Congressman Hall's 34 years in Washington, and that was something that really I felt that a majority of voters would agree with me that that's just simply too long. I do think that for some voters, they raised with us a concern about his age. So I think it was a combination of factors. For some, he was there for too long. Some felt that maybe he shouldn't be serving into his 90s. Some folks just wanted to send a message to Washington. I think we were the beneficiary of different reasons that voters had. In the end, a majority just felt like it was time for a change, time for new leadership.
You've promised to serve no more than 8 years in Washington. You think that's long enough for anybody, but seniority is a powerful tool when you're in Washington.
Well, you know, I think that playing the seniority game is really what got this country into trouble. I think that's why we have a $17 trillion debt that's now skyrocketing out of control. I do think you can have a voice whether you're a freshman or whether you've been there for 30-something years. You know, Ted Cruz is someone that's only been in Washington for less than 2 years, and yet he's had a strong voice on the conversation and dialogue in this country. So, you know, I'm a big believer in citizen legislators, those that go to Washington, serve their time, then come home and let others serve. And that's the model that I'm going to follow.
You live in tiny little Rockwall County, former mayor of the town of Heath, but the congressional district is enormous, stretching all the way to the Red River, east to Louisiana, and there are a lot of competing interests. You know, Rockwall County, clearly a part of the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area, and yet a big need like water is going to take land away from constituents in other parts of your district. How do you balance the competing interests between the urban, suburban, I guess, and rural?
Yeah, it is a very expansive district, and as you said, Tim, you know, as we went through the 18 different counties, the needs and concerns, you know, are different, but so many times on the federal level, the interests are the same. People are concerned about out-of-control debt, out-of-control spending and taxing and borrowing, and how that affects, you know, the future of the kids throughout this community, throughout this district, and the kind of the future that they're going to have. So, you know, there are issues that everyone agrees on within specific pockets. You know, we do just spend time, and you take those issues one at a time to represent the diverse interests of a very diverse district.
How do you come down, though, if you know that Rockwall County and Dallas County and the rest of the metro area needs more water, and you're going to have to tell a farmer or a rancher, the federal government is taking away your land to build a reservoir?
Well, you know, I have very strong opinions on that, about the federal government taking land away from homeowners. You know, I believe in a limited government, and so, you know, just generally speaking, I'm not for that. You know, unless it's absolutely necessary, and I haven't really had a chance to focus on those issues. As you know, Tim, you know, the runoff went through yesterday, May 27th, and I focused on that hurdle right in front of me. And now that I'm over that, I can look at the specific issues going forward that I will deal with in Congress. And, you know, ultimately I'll make the decisions that are best for the majority that do reside in the 4th Congressional District. And, do that within the constructs and intent of the Constitution. That's what people in this district expect from their representative, and that's how I intend to handle each issue.
All right. Best of luck when you do head to Washington, which will be soon enough. John Ratcliffe, thanks for joining us live this morning.